You've heard of Roger Federer, right?
Of course.
I want to share this with you. Nobody else.
All right.
I've never lost to Roger Federer. I just want you to know that. Never have lost.
Welcome into another episode of Training Table. Now, today's guest is a absolute Penn State legend. It is my pleasure to introduce Mike, the Mailman. Mike,
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
thank you for coming on. I'm excited to do this one. We're going to go to a little local diner and discuss the life of being a mailman at Penn State here.
Okay, that sounds good.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Shout out to Bobby Real Honda of State College for sponsoring this video. Make sure you guys go check out their showroom on West College Ave. Mike, do you know our destination? We're going to Early Town Diner. I'm going to be honest. I don't have my nav up. Do you know how to get there from here?
Yes, I do.
You do? Okay. Well, we're gonna have Mike kind of direct.
It's nice. Yeah. A lot of people run here or ride bikes here. A lot of times when I go to Penn State football, I ride my bike into town.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Ride your bike to the Penn State football game.
Because I'm invited to many tailgates, and I like to get around.
That's a great hack.
I'm not really a drinker, but I like the different foods, especially eating food outside always tastes great.
And especially when you don't pay for it.
It's true.
Mike, I want to ask you. So you became an official mailman, what, 1968?
I started working at the post office in 1968. That's
1968.
correct. April 1st, as a matter of fact.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was the first day. It was a little bit of a jokester day for you.
Yeah.
That's fitting for you, Mike.
Actually, I also retired on April 1st.
Really?
Yeah, 48 years later.
Wow, 48 years exactly.
A lot of people thought I was kidding.
They thought it was a joke.
They really did.
How does one become a mailman? I'm curious of how that process, and also where did you start? You were downtown on Fraser Street, right?
On Fraser Street, yeah.
Okay.
I sorted mail for probably like 7 years, night shift. That's why I know almost all the 39,000 plus zip codes in the country.
I mentioned my hometown, and you rattled off.
Oh, yeah.
You rattled off my zip code
What's
to
it?
me. I'm Annapolis, which
Oh,
is
not
kinda...
21401, yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. But I think I'm a real mailman. I could never do that real job. People came to my place, and I mailed letters for them. But it's a lot. Mike and mailman sort of go together more than Mike the clerk. You know what I'm
It
saying?
does, yeah. So you're the kind of the sorter, but you know, you got a lot of interactions with all the students. That's always that's always so fun. When did it really become Mike the mailman and not just Mike?
In 1977 or 78, said, "Hey, Mike the mailman." He said, "Mike the mailman." I said, "That's sort of had a ring to it." I said, "Okay, let's go with that. See what happens." So
it does. It absolutely has a ring to it. Now, you're obviously very well remembered for it because you took everything to the next level. You're hanging up posters. You're having fun with it, interacting with the students. Yeah. Number one, when did that start? So if you started in '68, when did that really start? Of really showing yourself and kind of who you are.
Probably 77, 78, 1978. Okay. There was no supervisors there. I was never their favorite son. I was sort of what you call back then a rebel. But
okay, all right.
Sort of all the postal regulations first.
Throw out all the regulations.
Oh yeah, there was no regulation sign on. I filled the post office with, you name it, various posters, different sayings, different Murphy's Law, whatever, anything I could do, and people would bring me things in to put up.
All right, we are here. Thanks for the help to get us here, Mike.
Oh yeah, that really.
All directions. There's a lot on this menu. Yeah. I'll tell you what. This is like a classic, just old school.
Oh, you don't get that anymore. You're exactly right.
No, it doesn't exist. Man, I'm so conflicted because I love the breakfast, but I think I need to try something else. Okay. If you had to recommend anything non-breakfast, you had to give me like 2 or 3 things you're like better. I love everything, by the way. If you had to give me a couple recommendations, do you have anything specific that's a non-breakfast?
Special.
The special?
Special is amazing.
I'll do the special.
Okay.
I'll do the special, and I gotta request. Can I do a side of onion rings?
Yes.
I love onion rings.
And that sounds good.
You gonna try that?
I think I did,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yes.
We gotta do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first time I met your wife, and I love it. You always introduce her as your bride.
She's my bride. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So when did you guys get married? What year?
Not long. We haven't been married long enough.
Right.
But it was 1976.
I love how you describe it. Not long enough.
That's right. That's when anyone asks how long you've been married, I tell them not long enough. She's the best thing ever happened in my life.
That's fantastic. Where'd you guys meet at?
Lock Haven is both our hometowns.
Okay.
And our grandparents knew one another, and our parents. We weren't an arranged marriage, but it seemed like.
Yeah, right. It was set up.
Because our grandparents lived like 2 doors from one another. in an Italian neighborhood. My mom's Italian and her dad's Italian. So, but I was 3 years ahead of her in school, and we never thought about anything until like I think I was a senior in high school, and I went to her best friend's party, and I asked her to take her home. And another guy asked her to take her home, and she said she went with me. She didn't know why she went with me. She said when I took her home, she said, "I couldn't believe how tall you were." She always tells me that. It was cute. It was fun.
So you had to fight. That's how it was back in the day. You know, a couple guys, and you got to fight for fight for the right to your woman.
So we eventually got together through another friend, and then everything worked out. I think the last 20 years of my mom's life, she apologized to my bride because she didn't want anything bad to happen to her son. So
right,
but it worked out.
Like, how did you originally get into being a quasi, media member kind of?
Well, it was funny because some guy who wanted to create the show, he had Brandon Noble, Chris Bucanani, and Kevin Horn the first week, and this guy said, "Mike, you want to come and do the show?" And I had no clue what I was going to do. So we went to this guy's back porch out by the country, had cornfields behind, and I didn't know those guys. I didn't know. Although Chris said he knew me from a distance, I said, okay, so it meshed. Whatever it had, it meshed, and it was like, I know. Over the years, I know I'm just a couple years older than those guys. And
just a little bit.
So, as a matter of fact, I've been to Penn State football games before any of these guys were born.
Yeah.
But they look to me for my wisdom and my knowledge of fast things. But these guys really know their sports. I'm just there listening, having a good time. It's
You're having a good
show.
time. Yeah, you are. If you're looking for some positivity, if the Penn State football season is going at all negative, which it normally doesn't, Mike's going to be there to provide some positive reinforcement, and it's always a good outlook.
They know every year I'm going to predict the Penn State to go undefeated. They do know that, so they always let me go last.
I've been there. Well, I was
That's
actually,
right.
that's what I was waiting for. Kind of the punchline here is I need the prediction for the 2025 season for the Penn State football team, Mike. What do you got for us?
Oh, I think probably 15-0 because they won't make it 16 because they don't have to play the first game the way the old format is. I don't know if it's
first round bye. They're still there.
Oh,
so it's still there. So it would be 15-0.
15-0, yeah.
15-0, undefeated national champions.
Oh, that's great.
There we go. I like that. That's a great prediction.
As a matter of fact, I was happy with the Penn State inline wrestling team, which is my favorite sport.
Well, pretty big win for us, and 10 All-Americans. We set a record for most points scored. Yeah. I mean, watching Cael Sanderson, what has that been like? Because honestly, I don't really know too much about our wrestling history. I mean, were we good in the 70s, 80s, 90s, like before 2000s, before Cael, or were we?
We were good, not outstanding the way we are now. In fact, I went to a wrestling club meeting last night, and Cael was there, and he talked about how difficult it is to win a national title, and how difficult now it is with the recruiting and this NIL. Everything, he said, everything has changed, as you know. Everything has changed.
Absolutely.
Everything's so different. But everything's changed in life anyway, so you have to learn to adjust, and I think most people do that. I've adjusted to most things. I'm not computer savvy like a lot of these guys, but I'm getting there.
You're adapting, that's for sure. You're adapting. In your opinion, Carter Starachi now, most likely because of the COVID rules, he's going to be probably the only 5-time champion, national champion ever. You think he goes down as the best of all time?
He won't go down as the best of all time. That was Cael Sanderson. Well, there's some publication, 2001, best amateur athlete of the 20th century, and Jesse, Ohio State, who won the Olympic.
Oh yeah.
Jesse Owens.
Jesse Owens.
He was the number one, and Cael Sanderson was number 2.
Wow.
Best amateur athlete of the 20th century.
Of the 20th century. Yeah. Jesse Owens and Cael Sanderson. Put those photos side by side. That's some high praise.
He had 100 people in there, and they were 1 and 2. So.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. What a great call.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to walk away hungry from this.
No. This is an old school, just an open-faced roast beef sandwich.
Oh,
this is the Listen, this is the special. This is the recommendation here.
I have to bring my bride down here again. We haven't been here for a while, but
this is something. I heard a story. The USPS, United States Postal Service, wanted you to take down all your signs.
You mean the Great Rally of 2000?
I
I refer to it as the Great Rally of 2000.
The Great Rally of 2000.
Yeah.
You had students protest. How many students would you say you had protesting out there?
Oh.
Not that you did, but they did it.
Oh yeah, there's one kid. You know those bullhorns, whatever they call this, in loudspeaker.
Yeah.
I actually ended up becoming a Pennsylvania representative in some district down around Philadelphia. But he said they rallied. It's such a bad PR for the Postal Service to begin with.
Oh yeah.
You know, they really made me look good. They compared me with the Nittany Lion, all this. I thought, wow, all these accolades that I don't deserve. But anyway, as it turned out, the student union and actually the president of the university, Graham Span, he told me, you know, his dad was a postmaster a long time ago. Okay,
wow.
So different letters were sent out, and so after 3 or 4 days under attack, the media really made the post office look terrible, but it made me look really good. I appreciate it. but it ended up to be, you know, it ended up to be a really pretty good thing. It was good.
That's great. You got to see how much the students really care.
Oh yeah, it's like wow.
So Mike, being around campus, obviously for that long, you got to see and meet some really cool people. Did you ever get any interactions with Joe Paterno at all, or anybody?
Oh, yeah. Joe would come in and buy. He used to buy rolls of, like a coil of stamps, 100 stamps, and we would talk. But we would not talk football. I just wanted, you know. I think he liked that. He didn't have to talk football. So yeah, Joe was there. He was just a gracious guy. He just really respected what I did. I respected what he did, and it was just really nice. It was good.
Proactive attitude.
Well, it was funny. I was at a tailgate 2 years ago, and this older couple stopped and said, "I like the mailman." She said, "I want to thank you for what you did to my son." Being there 40 years, you don't know whatever. So, well, my son, she said, I said, "Tell me more." And so she said, "Well, my son came to the post office. He was really feeling down because he had a black eye." And he said, he walked into my post office, and I told him, first thing I said, "Get that right arm up to protect that eye." And she said, after he left her, he felt so good. He called me. He said, "Mailman, I didn't know this guy, but he, you know." So she said, "He's getting married next week. Could you do a video with me here?" So I did a video for his wedding. It's like, okay, but it's stuff like that, things that happen all the time like that.
So, Mike, you obviously, like I said, you got to see everything, and you know, mainly we do all Penn State sports, but especially Penn State football. You've seen many eras.
Oh, yeah.
If you had to give me one new school, and by new school we'll go 2000s and on. If you had to give me a 2000s and on, maybe your favorite, but you know, a dynamic player that you like to watch. Did you have anybody?
Well, I like Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and what a great guy too.
Yeah. And we actually had a connection because his girlfriend at the time was selling stuff on eBay, so she would come in all the time, and once in a while he would come in. He'd come in on a little, like a one-wheel scooter or something like that, and I said, I don't even want to try that. But in fact, when I was retiring, the three of us, we got a picture together, and then he got drafted by Tampa Bay. I have a connection to him.
That's great. That's awesome. Like, we have some pretty good games over the years. If you had to narrow down one, especially maybe if you, I don't know how many games you went to, but do you have a favorite game that you attended, or just a favorite Penn State football game in general, maybe? You had some good ones.
Well, it's a while ago. I mean, Penn State was playing Syracuse, up in Syracuse, and they were down, I think they were down 12-0. I figured, darn it. And sure enough, they came back and won the game 14-12. And it's like, to me, that was a really, to me, I liked it. It was a special game. A lot of people talk about the Illinois game where they were down by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
early.
94.
And that was really like, I was sitting there and saying, no way this is going to happen. Sure enough, but that was by far, consensus probably the best game ever. They come back like that. But it's like, but there's been so many good players, and these players are much bigger, much stronger, much faster than ever. I don't know how it works.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They're built in labs, man.
Oh yeah.
It's Abdul Carter.
Yeah.
He's barely human.
Oh yeah. I play tennis, so I don't have to do the physical stuff. But you've heard of Roger Federer, right?
Of course.
I want to share this with you. Nobody else.
All right.
Roger, I've never lost to Roger Federer. I just want you to know that. Never have lost to this guy.
That's a great stat.
I've never, unbelievable.
Talking about how much, obviously we both love Penn State, and I only got to know Penn State really the 2020s and on, but you've been knowing it since the 60s. How different has it changed? I mean, just like the construction, I mean, the downtown has skyscrapers and all this stuff, the high rises. I mean, how different overall have you seen it, though?
Well, yeah, it really has changed. It's funny that I'm at a point where I remember what used to be here, what used to be there. People say, I said, no, that used to be, didn't be that used to be this. It's like, oh, wow. So I guess years go by.
Yeah, they do.
But as you probably know, you have to adjust to everything. I mean, and I know that a lot of people don't like the high rises, but that's the way. That's the way of the world anymore. It's the way it is.
It is.
I just hope everyone embraces how great this town is. Even with the high rise, it's all part of the whole system.
It is.
But I like this. What's not to like about the town?
Mike the Mailman, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
This was fantastic. If you want to see more, Mike the Mailman, and I'll be on there. Check out For the Bloggy YouTube channel, as they have a show that they do in season about once a week, but out of season every once in a while. But this was awesome. Early Town Diner. Come check it out right off of Route 45. Fantastic food. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please like, comment, subscribe. Peace.
Thank you.